So albums turning 20. A lot of these albums, you grew up with these albums, you probably still listen to them. I do. These are a lot of my favorite albums. A lot of albums that I anticipated when I got word that they were coming out. It kind of just shows you just where we're at. Like these albums didn't do well, I guess, chart-wise. But I feel like this was like the last year of really solid R&B. There was like a shift afterwards where everything just started kind of really sounding the same. Like everybody that I'm gonna mention in this list, every album is different from the other, so it's fucking so dope, and I miss those days, man. So I already talked about Brandy, Aphrodisiac, Janet Jackson's Damita Jo. Briefly touching up on Janet Jackson's Damita Jo. That album sounded like it went through like 3 different stages. You had like some Pharrell production, Rich Harrison, which I really dig. Either sound I enjoyed. There was a lot of good unreleased material on that album. It's kind of tough because that album still is really good, but maybe there's a few tracks that I would have maybe switched. Maybe, if anything, it's really hard to pick because it was so well put together. Definitely one of her best albums, Damita Jo. Okay, so I'm gonna go on to Teedra Moses. Now in 2004, 20 years ago, Teedra Moses came out with Complex Simplicity. Be Your Girl. When I was introduced to that song, man, like it just summer. Pure fucking summer. I think that was quite common in R&B those days. Like it was very adult. Anyways, yeah. So it was released August 10, 2004. She was signed with TVT at the time. Producers, majority of it was produced by Polly Paul. She had a track by Raphael Sadiq. It reached 168 independent albums, number 11 top R&B hip hop albums, number 20. So it didn't do well, but I guess for R&B in its time, it did. A solid fucking album. She just did this thing recently celebrating the 20th anniversary to Complex Simplicity. I think she did like a repackaging of it. She's quite vocal about how artists don't profit or get anything really from streaming. So she's encouraging fans, the following, to really purchase music, the albums, the hard copies even. So it's a smart move, man. Like she basically repackaged something and made us go buy it. So this way it gives us something different from what's available on Spotify. And you can tell she puts in the effort and shit. Like she's always been like a quality artist, no matter what the project was. But what a lovely introduction to such an artist. Complex Simplicity, man, like that is one of the best albums like of all time, especially from that era. To this day, it just stands alone as its own. And nobody can compete with it. It's such a fucking solid album. So speaking of Teedra Moses, Christina Milian released her single Dip It Low 20 years ago off her, I think it was her second album, It's About Time. It was released June 15, 2004. Teedra Moses wrote Dip It Low, obviously. For you guys probably all know this shit. So you can tell that it's very Teedra. That is probably my favorite album from Christina Milian. Producers Warren Campbell. Wow. Warren Campbell, Bloodshy and Avant, Brian Cox, Rodney Jerkins, Polly Paul, Corey Rooney, and some others. The album peaked at number 14 on the US Billboard 200 and number 21 in the UK, selling a total of 382,000 and 63,000 respectively. The album achieved silver certification in the UK and was nominated for a Grammy for Best Contemporary R&B Album. Yeah, I think this is like her best album. The ones that came afterwards, they were alright. The one that came before was pretty decent. It's very poppy, but this I would have to say like it's like her album, the best album. So many fucking solid tracks on that one. I always preferred the single version of Dip It Low with Shauna. Shauna, I was like addicted to in 2004. There was just something really special about Shauna. Every track she touched, bro, it was just fucking fire. Like she never ever let you down. You want a hot feature, you want a fucking solid ass verse, Shauna was the one. Dude, the remix, Beanie Man, bro, like I always, when it came to her part, always had to fucking rewind that shit, just play it and play it and play it. And her album Worth the Wait finally came out. She was scheduled to have her debut album in 2003. That doesn't work out ever. So this was an album I didn't think was gonna actually come out. And I remember it leaked, and I got it. It was released September 28, 2004, and it peaked at number 22 on the Billboard 200, and that's actually not bad. Number 22 for a female rap artist at that time. A lot of rap albums didn't chart well. So that I think was pretty decent. I don't know. It sounds pretty decent. It sold 38,000 copies in the US, and the producers include Just Blaze, Kanye West, Timbaland, Bangladesh, and more. I wasn't expecting her album to sound like that, but like, not that it was a letdown or anything. It was just, I had no idea what she was kind of doing creatively. The album cover, the packaging of it just seemed like that was just kind of like a last minute idea. But the music itself was fucking dope. Like her flows are just, she's one of the fucking sickest rappers and like the dirtiest flows. She can get on anything and make it fucking hot. Like she was one of those rappers for me. Timbaland, yo, like Shake That Shit. How excited I was getting word that fucking Tim was producing the first single, Shake That Shit. And during this year, Tim was hot, yo. Like he was producing Aphrodisiac for Brandy. He did Hits Run for LL Cool J. So he produced a couple of tracks on that album. Was it The Definition? I think it was called The Definition. Yeah, Tim was doing some hot shit at that point. Now that was like one of my favorite sounds of him. His beats were fucking, they were just so dirty, fucking grimy and shit, bro. Like they were heavy fucking beats. And that was like right before his transition into like shock value era. And he worked with Jacki-O at the time. Like those tracks that he did with Jacki-O were fucking solid. And she put out her album, Poor Little Rich Girl, finally. That was another album I thought wasn't gonna come out. We were promised that album since 2003. And you know, we were getting leakage of it here and there. And then there was those mixtape cuts with Tim and shit. And he produced quite a bit for her, like quite a few tracks, I think, 2, 3, and they work well together. I wish we had more of that, to be honest. But her album was really solid, and she was signed with TVT Records at the time too. I'm surprised we didn't get like a remix of Teedra Moses, You Better Tell Her, with like Jacki-O. That would have been dope. Anyways, that album came out October 26th. Again, I feel like that one was just kind of last minute thrown together, like the photography and shit like that. That was included in the cover, the artwork. Nicole Wray's Fantasia Love Child. Now this one pissed me off. Yo, I was so looking forward to fucking this album. Like I waited. This is another album I fucking waited for. We got, what was it, Cloud 9. Then it was like Regrets. This was an interesting sound, and in a very good way. I was so looking forward to listening to it in full and good quality and shit. And then the fucking thing never came out, bro. Like so many tracks leaked. I don't even know which one's actually like the album, or if there was ever an album that was put together. It was just a bunch of material she recorded. But then her Independence Day mixtape consisted of a lot of that material, so gave you an idea of what she was going for. It was really fucking dope. That didn't happen, I think, because of the falling out with Dame. Yeah, there was a falling out between JC and Dame. Not surprised. That one really bummed me out, man, when we didn't get that album. Like, I waited a long time for that one. All summer, I was playing her shit, like Destination and how the list here, Saturday Love, Thug Style especially, bro. Like, that was fucking dope. Act a Fool, Back Up Against the Wall, Can't Get Out the Game, Fire. Oh, shit. Yo, like that, I gotta go listen to that. That was a fucking solid-ass fucking album, even though we never got it in full. Like, just the tracks alone were fucking really dope. Brings me back. And then this was around the time Olivia joined G-Unit, and then we got Cloud 9. And then Behind Closed Doors, it was just never released. And that was another letdown. Like, I think that was some of Olivia's best material, and we never fucking got it. Truth Hurts, Ready Now. She left Dr. Dre. I forget why. But she linked up with Raphael Sadiq and gave us that amazing album. And for me at the time, I didn't like it. It's not that I didn't like it. Like, I liked it. I loved the singles, Knock Knock and Ready Now and shit. But I was not used to Truth Hurts without Dr. Dre behind her. That was the signature sound that I was looking for, and I didn't get it. But throughout the years, it grew on me, man. And it's just like, you start to appreciate it when you put aside the Dr. Dre expectations. You realize like what Raphael did with like what he was doing with her direction wise, and the music was just, again, solid fucking music. I'm not gonna really talk about these ones, but Sierra's Goodies came out, Usher's Confessions, one of his, like, literally his best album, Nelly's Sweat and Suit, and Kanye West, The College Dropout, Bjork, especially Bjork's album, what the fuck was it called? Man, I don't remember. Utada, Exodus. Tim was on that album, and when we were on like the Beat Club message board, like this was big, bro. Like, we were just all like excited for what was to come of Tim, and he was just all over the fucking place with this. And these were definitely one of the songs. Was it Exodus 4? I think that's what it was called. Like, I haven't listened to. I kind of almost forgot about these. A lot of these, especially that song, and I used to bump that a lot. Ashanti's Concrete Rose, Destiny's Child, Destiny Fulfilled, Mario's Turning Point, JoJo, shit. And Angie Stone's Stone Love, Fantasia, Free Yourself, New Edition, One Love, Mario Winans, Hurt No More. Yeah, Mario, he's a dope producer. I'm gonna make a video talking about his production. Like, he's such a dope producer. And Method Man's the prequel. I listened to that every fucking day, that whole summer. That was my shit. What's Happening with Busta Rhymes? Oof. Terror Squad, True Story. We had like a lot of solid albums. It's safe to say that we had so much variety going on that fucking summer. Black's Torch was supposed to come out, when we kept getting like snips of of songs and shit on, like, so I just remember a lot of them even being played in the soundtrack of Summer '04. Thankfully we got that album. We were able to get that album, and I hope that one day we could do the same with all these other ones that we just never got. I know it's kind of hard because a lot of them weren't actually pieced together, but yeah. And this was around the time too, I think Kylie Dean gave us Escape. And this just honestly just brings me back to like the Beat Club Forum. Such a special place. We shared music together, but like it was such a community. It was a really solid community. Anyways, thank you for just even touching base with these fucking albums with me. Again, just appreciating the music that these people offered, the times, your stories in the comments, your discovery of the albums, your memories to it and shit. Like, I so appreciate it because like these mean so much to me. So it's in a way we keep these albums kind of alive, keep going, and a lot of them don't sound dated. Like, they did their own thing. They didn't like do shit trendy or anything. They just did their own thing, and they still, I think that's why they stand strong to this day. Like, they stand alone. Each album kind of has their own thing that made them stand for so long, if that makes sense. Anyways, all right, guys, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time.